Welcome everyone to the Is This Love podcast. I'm only laughing because audio is fun to play with on computers. Anyway, how's everyone doing? This is the show where we discuss and discover and learn and thrive and journey the wild and wonderful world of love and relationships. It is I, Francis, aka the other guy, and it is everyone's favorite sutress, Sara Nade. Hi, Sara. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Francis?
I'm doing well. I want to say thank you to everyone who's been downloading lately. I have gotten some very wonderful compliments as of late about the show and listening to Sara and I, and we're having a lot of fun creating these podcasts for you, and it seems like you guys are also equally enjoying it. So please just do us a favor before you even get started on anything. Just stop what you're doing, pause the show, go out into the world, share it with your friends, share it with everyone, share it with your boss, your coworkers, your enemy, the guy who's bagging your groceries, whoever it is. Share it with them, let them know that this show exists, because you guys are what are making us enjoy doing this. We enjoy doing it anyway, but we get a little extra bit of joy from this. So anyway, how are you, Sara? What have you been up to lately?
Not a lot. Actually, it was my birthday.
Oh, look at that. Oh, man.
Yeah. Had a good birthday weekend.
In the middle of July, you're having a birthday.
July?
Hey.
It's May.
Oh, tell that to Justin Timberlake. Never mind.
Okay, what?
Because he does it's going to be May,
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah,
I don't know if I know.
You don't know that?
I'd probably have to hear it.
So every end of April, people will put the meme where it's Justin Timberlake from NSYNC singing, "It's Gotta Be May," but they say May instead.
Oh, okay. I get it.
And it's
I haven't seen the meme.
Oh, man. It's funny, but also awful because they've done it for like the last 10 years straight. It's just, okay. So that's all. I find that funny. But anyway, good. I'm glad. I hope you were showered with presents and gifts, even though I guess as we get older that this doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen quite as much. I got a couple nice gifts. Yes, it was very nice.
Oh, that's
nice
good.
Adult birthday.
Oh, hello. So furry handcuffs and a bumpy sex toy. Okay. Good for you.
No.
You said adult. I'm just going off of what you told me.
Yeah, now I regret it.
Nah, it's probably a gift card to See's Candy and a back scratcher with those really nice that extends like those antennas back in the 80s and 90s.
Those are really weird guesses.
Well, it's what I would have given you if I had gotten you gifts. I would have gotten you a See's Candy gift card and a retractable extended back scratcher, because we all could use those. I'm just saying.
All right. Well, if I ever get one of those and it's unlabeled, I'll know who it's from.
Good. Yeah. If you just get one just like in the mail randomly, you know who it was me. Yeah, why do I have a back scratcher?
I don't have one.
Well,
oh my God, the perfect gift.
I know, right? and it doubles as like a shoehorn. So there you go. It's like,
or one of those long forks you use to steal other people's like grapes off their plate.
Why would you? Have you done that? Is that something you do regularly?
Usually that sounds really hard. It's hard enough to get a grape with a fork on your own plate.
No, that's a good point. Yeah. Well, these are all just future plans for anyone else who's having a birthday. But before we even get into the show proper, I actually spent some time over the weekend with a friend of mine and his wife. I guess they're both my friend, really. And with their fairly newborn baby.
Oh.
She also said she loved our show, listened to it recently, thought it was great.
Oh, that's sweet.
But it was an interesting experience because I hadn't been around a baby in probably a little over 15 years maybe. It's been a while since I've been around a baby because of COVID and because I've been single and because my friends during that like 10-year period of when I was dark times, as I call it, they weren't having children, they weren't making babies. So the last person who had children was like my best friend at the time. And so I got to kind of see and watch some of them grow up. So now I have this other friend now who has their very first baby, 8 months old, learning to walk, was crawling around, very sociable. And I'm like, oh, right. I like babies. Like babies are fun and fascinating. And, they're curious and they want to learn. And sure, they have terrible cries. And sure, they vomit all over you like this one did to me. But that was okay. I didn't care. It vomited all over my arm. And I'm like, go for it, kid. Like, you're adorable. And it was perfectly fine. But it's interesting. Have you been around babies at all recently?
Oh, yeah. I have 2 nephews. One is about, I guess, a little over 1.5, and the other one is 4, going to be 5 in a few months.
Okay. No, wait, can you call them a baby at 5?
He is not a baby, but I have been around him his whole babyhood. And his brother is, I would say, still kind of a baby. He's walking around, though, so he's more of a toddler.
Yeah.
And yes, they are wonderful. They are wonderful. I would say the throw up is not as much a scary thing for me as the blowouts. Those are fun to deal with. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, babies have all sorts of stuff for you to clean up. So it's just the other side of the coin.
True. But then you see kind of, and again, I only spent a day with my friends. So however number of hours that was with that kid. And it to me was fascinating. And, by now I had expected, I think as we age, we kind of have this expectation that we get to these certain milestones in life and we'll have, hit these certain points, in our own, development in our own lives. And I'm like, I don't have a kid. Oh man, how I think about it. It's like that'd be a really cool adventure. And I don't know. I think it'd just be, and I've always wanted to have a kid. So it was just kind of a reminder that, oh yeah, kids are gross and weird, but also like super cool and interesting. Like, wow, it was really just kind of a fun experience to be around a baby for the first time in a long time. But you're used to it. You have nieces and nephews and stuff. So.
I got used to it again, yeah. I mean, for me, it had been like since like any measurable amount of time around babies since like the days when I was babysitting. And then my sister had kids and then I got to be around babies for longer periods of time and like maybe watching them here and there for a night or, in the afternoon when my sister needs to go to an appointment or something. And they're really, really wonderful. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I love hanging out with them with the whole family too, even when it's not just me in charge and I'm figuring everything out. Like it's great with everyone together. Oh God, the 4-year-old is so funny. He'll be having a great time. We'll be laughing and just having an awesome time. And then he'll look at me with like the straightest face ever and be like, I would prefer for you to leave.
Oh, ow, hey. What is this? What is with this baby? What is going on here? I would prefer that. Wait, I prefer that you would leave. Is that
something like that? Yeah, like he hears these like really like sort of like proper sentences in different places, and he repeats them. But I think I'm maybe one of his favorite people, which maybe is in the super high bar because of the pandemic and not a lot of people are doing like visiting and stuff. But I'm one of the few people, our family that comes and visits a lot. So that means I get some FaceTime and I get a little bit of recognition. It's really, really nice. I love being a fun aunt. I do. And, someday I may also be a mom. I guess we'll see. And maybe someday you'll be a dad.
Maybe. Well, I don't know about that. But
what? Maybe.
But I think that it's a fascinating thing, especially since, a lot of people, at least the people I've been talking to, are they question like, oh, is this a good environment to raise a kid? Is it, there's a lot of worries and a lot of scares now. I saw that, especially for these parents, and they're they're around our age, but it's like, it's interesting to kind of see that there's a lot of these new fears and a lot of these new concerns that you don't have as an adult when you're by yourself, or if you have, whatever. There's all of these things like, did you hear if you do this, the baby will turn into an elephant? Like, what? Really? Like, I had no idea. Like, it's all of these things. And it's kind of crazy, like how your worries multiply at the same time. As much as it's fun, you're like, oh, this is great. Look, new life, a cute little baby who's learning and growing, and the future of the planet, right, is right there. The future of our generations right there in the form of a bald little kid crawling around and drooling on everything. Like, that's it. Right. But at the same time, it's like, oh my God, must protect from everything. It's like, oh man, yeah, it's just so many things to think about. But anyway, a lot of people do that in steps though. And I think today we're going to go with some people usually take this step before having a baby. Not always, of course, but some people do. And what is that step, Sarah?
I have no idea. Dating? Getting married?
There you go. What was our question this week?
I didn't know how far back we were going.
Not too far back. Well, hopefully you've been dating before you get married.
Well, meeting someone. You want to meet someone before all these steps.
No, that's true too. Where are you? Where are these people?
Depends. Not everyone has to do it the same way.
Exactly. They can go in reverse. Sure. Why not?
It has gone in reverse. You've had the baby first and then gone backwards for sure. Maybe not marriage before dating. I'm sure someone's done it.
Oh, sure. There's a Memento style relationship somewhere out there where they just went completely in reverse. they decided. They broke with someone they didn't even know, and then they started dating, and then just went backwards until, they
could happen. Someone could make it work.
Sure.
I'm sure there's a rom-com to be made out of this.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my goodness. If there isn't, A, make it, and B, credit us. All right.
Yes. We can. You heard it here first, and let us know if someone stole our idea.
Is This Love Presents? The backwards baby. No. Well, maybe not like that. Maybe not. All right. Anyway, we have a question though. What's the question for this week?
Okay, so this question is from Jen, and she asks, "How long is too long to be with someone before getting married?"
Ooh, interesting. Isn't it? Well, the question you have to ask yourself, I guess, is how long is long enough before you think you know someone? Because you don't really want to marry people do marry a stranger. I mean, The Bachelor exists, right? And The Bachelorette exists. So, like, people marry strangers all the time on television. So,
that's true. I mean, there are reality TV show relationships. How real they are, who can say?
There's like something called like 90 Day Fiancee or something like that.
Oh my gosh, that show can be very addicting.
Oh, you know about
I know a little bit. Like, I mostly have to watch clips because I'm not going to pay for like a subscription to this channel just for that thing.
Right.
But yeah, it's pretty trashy. It's pretty trashy sometimes.
Whoa.
They have people where it's like clearly there is no love between them.
Yeah.
And it's just awful. It's awful to watch, but the TV show is just raking in the ratings and they're really pushing it, and you feel bad for everybody, but you also feel a little bit better about yourself. So you can't stop watching.
Wow. All right. Well,
that's the whole point of reality shows.
That's true. No, I can't argue with that. Actually.
Well, at least that kind of reality show. Then there's the ones where everyone's like a billionaire, and then you're like, oh, well, this is my life then, I guess.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. When I was with my friend last night, they're like, "Have you ever heard of?" I think it's like the Bling.
Oh, Bling Dynasty.
Bling Dynasty. Yeah, where it's like the Asians and it's like the like billionaire Asians and like it's Crazy Rich Asians, but a reality show. And
okay.
And it's
I've seen it on Netflix. I have not watched it.
So we were watching an episode, and I hated every second of it. Because they're all wealthy, right? But my favorite person on there was this woman who I guess is dating a Power Ranger.
You mean like an actor who played a Power Ranger, or an actual Power Ranger?
An actor who played the Red Ranger. Like that was his. That's her like claim to fame. It's like
the red one.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So the leader of the group. And she was just like, yeah, I'm dating. And there was like this really kind of made up drama of, I couldn't even follow what the drama was really. It was really dumb. And it lasted for like 30 seconds before they moved on to this woman who needed to take pictures at a Beverly Hills mansion. And the mom was like playing with her clothing, trying to fix it. And she's getting a little too close to all her naughty bits while trying to fix her clothing, and it was like really weird. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Well, if you want to watch a show that does not need the drama to be staged, you should watch 90 Day Fiancé.
Right. I'll just stick to
it is plenty awkward all on its own.
I miss the days of like Storage Wars and
Dude, I found out that was like completely fake. Yeah, I was so sad.
It's a lot of it is set up, but the fun of it more, I guess, was like who was the one, because I guess the people who participate don't know who was set up, so they do get to discover the thing, but it's that the producers like plant the thing that will make them a lot of money, and then they react accordingly. But I don't think apparently they don't know ahead of time that there's going to be this thing that they're going to discover in their storage bins. Anyway, how long do you need to know?
Well, it's how long is too long, right? So
how long is too long, right?
I mean, there's people, of course, that are both perfectly happy, never getting married and staying together the rest of their lives, and that's great if they both want that. Yeah. But this kind of sounds to me like at least one person wants to get married in the relationship, and that person is feeling like it's taking a long time to happen. So I think that it changes. I think like the averages are what feels comfortable for people on average, because it's different for everyone, of course. Mm-hmm. I feel like I get the sense that people take less time the older they get. Well, they can move a little bit more quickly, and
we're in a hurry. As we get older, we're in a hurry. Yeah,
be in a bit of a hurry, and you've already like gone through this a few times, and you kind of know what you're looking for a little bit better. Personally, I think, and I know it has worked for many people, the opposite of what I'm about to say, but I think less than a year probably isn't the best idea. I've heard that the honeymoon phase can last up to a year and a half, and I think you want to get past that to start like seeing what it's really like. So I don't know. Let's say like an average, if you're at least late 20s, maybe 3 years. That's the number I'm going to throw out. Like maybe that's like when you maybe want to start thinking about proposing or marriage if you're going to stay together. Otherwise, decide you're never going to get married or stop wasting time.
Well, let me just say this. When I was studying psychology back in the aughts, that was the average that was talked about in class and in the books, in the lecturing, in the textbooks we were using, was 3 years. So you're spot on for at least what studies were back then, and I'm pretty sure it's still the same now. I mean, 3 years seems to be the average because that's enough time to get to know someone, their faults, etc., and get to know someone enough to where you feel comfortable marrying them. Now, as long as it's more than 90 days, I think we're, as long as you pass the 90-day mark, because even at work, right, you have a 90-day grace period. Get past you want to get the benefits and all that stuff after the 90-day grace period first before you start deciding on marriage.
You want to get past the work probation time period, then you're in love.
Yeah. I would agree with 3 years. Now, too long. Now, so like I said, with my previous relationship, it was 7 years before we pulled the trigger on marriage. So it was a while. I think we took long, but we were also young too. I mean, we were in our early 20s when everything kind of started going, right? We developed and built that relationship for 7 years before deciding, yes, this is a thing that we should do. And then move forward with it. But I think that 10 is way too long, I think. Like when you hit 10, because that's common law marriage. So if you're together, so
is it?
You're already married anyway by the time you hit 10 years. So
right.
I mean, do you think 10? I feel is a little too long, though. I think.
Well, I only think of too long in terms of whoever wants it to happen sooner. How long are they going to put up with it before they feel like this isn't going to happen? Or, something's wrong here because I keep asking them and I was expecting it. 10 years, if you have been wanting to get married that whole time and the other person has not been like committing, yeah, that's way too long in my opinion. And I think probably should have, or I don't want to say should have because I don't want to make people feel bad if they haven't done it, but it would be good to start talking about what issues there might be sooner rather than later. I would say like with the 3-year number, maybe at 3 years, you start like seriously talking about marriage. And then if at like 5 years, you've been seriously talking about it the whole time and they're still pushing off for another 2 years. I mean, that's not a great sign.
Well, I guess my question to you then is, what is the purpose of marriage? Why does one get married nowadays anyway? Outside of maybe religion and things like that.
Sure. I actually don't know the common law marriage laws of other places, but there's, insurance, taxes, there's the very bureaucratic reasons to get married. It is just a very, very old tradition and institution that a lot of people want to go through that step in their relationship before, the other milestones. It isn't for everybody. Some people, like I said, I know a friend couple that are never going to get married and they're going to be together forever. So they both decided they didn't want to get married. Well, it's some people it might just be a tradition thing, and certainly like the financial stuff and the health stuff is a big benefit if you don't both have total equal jobs and insurance and your partner has a lot of health issues but they have a terrible job. That could be a really good reason. I mean, it's not a reason to do it if you don't love each other, but
right, because as I navigated being single for so long, a lot of people, at least I noticed that a lot of people had this time period of cynicism where they're like, what's the point of marriage? Everyone gets divorced anyway. I mean, look, it's like right? Like that's did that sound accurate? Is that
I'm trying to figure out what that voice is making me think of.
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. Why are we getting married anyway?
You're like a bitter old seaplane pilot in a seedy bar.
No, that's why are we getting married? Why are we having a relationship? Oh, I don't understand.
That old.
Oh, not that old.
That's like the guy yelling and shaking his cane at the kids.
Get off my lawn. Yeah, no. Okay. But that's knowing that though, knowing that there's this old man who is cynical about marriage and is like, what's the point? And like, oh yeah, 50% of this and 75% of that, like they're giving statistics and they're saying all of these things about marriage. It does almost feel pointless for some because divorce does seem to be quite inevitable, or is it?
Well, yeah, I can see why if you look at the numbers and things like that, you can get pretty down about it. But there's also people who have great relationships and stay together for the rest of their life. So I think I don't know. I mean, if you're looking at your relationship and you're feeling like, I just don't think marriage is going to work, I don't know, the numbers are telling me it's not going to work. Well, that might be an issue because how you feel about your relationship doesn't make you feel like, oh yeah, we're going to beat the odds,
Mm-hmm.
So that, I don't know, that could have something to do with it. If you're looking at your relationship and you're looking at the numbers and you're like, ooh, glass half empty, you might be having some reservations that you're maybe want to think about them a little bit.
Yeah. No, I understand. I mean, look, according to, I looked up some statistics and it doesn't look good. That the trends are are still at 50%. Like there's still a lot of people who are divorcing. They don't seem to think that. Well, I feel like people marry as a Band-Aid for relationship problems sometimes. Like they feel like, oh, you know what the thing is that we need to commit on paper, in front of a lawyer or like a judge or something. And then all of our problems will go away. It's the same reason why people have kids sometimes. So it's like, oh, our marriage has been stagnant and whatever. Let's have a kid to spice and the cycle continues. We always feel like those seem to be remedies to things that really the answer is you guys should have just broken up and gone your separate ways. But again, we get comfortable. We get familiar. We get attached, even though maybe we don't feel that love for them, but we do. Maybe over time you feel like, oh, they've been there. No one else has. This person has been there.
Well, there's something to be said for that, I think. And if you're looking at the whole architecture of your relationship, I do agree with you. I don't think making gigantic commitments is the answer to having relationship problems. Mm-hmm. It almost seems counterintuitive, doesn't it? But yes, lots of people do it. I think as far as the divorce numbers, it's also good to realize that, divorce might be higher, but it's also easier for people to get out of bad marriages now than it was in the past.
That's true.
So it doesn't necessarily mean that marriages are worse.
No. According to this, and mind you, this is a website. It's an attorney. So take it for what it's worth. But their claim is that the number one cause for divorce is marital infidelity. So I mean, take that for what it's worth.
Well, that's another thing. Yeah. I totally think that people should be able to get out of marriages, right? If it's not right for them, there should be no law or religious thing forcing them to stay together. But when it was harder to get out of marriages, did people, I don't know, did they work harder to mend after broken trust, or did people just say, well, yeah, I'm sleeping with other people now. There's nothing you can do about it. So that's the rest of your life. Sorry.
I mean, because I think of it, because with that in mind, with what you just said in mind, right? Like having that idea of, well, okay, I made a mistake. I cheated on you. What's the best way to mend this relationship or remove it or remove it altogether? But it's like, okay, well, wait a minute. I still haven't really found then the real reason to get married. Because if you're at least just a couple and that happens, that's super easy. There's no paperwork signed. There's no, divorce law. There's no splitting of assets or anything. It's just like you guys were a couple for X number of years. I made them, whatever happened. Just break up, right? And then you guys can move your separate ways. But nowadays, it feels like, I don't know. I don't want to look at marriage cynically because I was one of those weirdos that grew up thinking that I'd get married once and never get married, and that was it. Obviously, that's not how it worked out, but it is what it is. And will I ever get married again? I don't know. I did it once before, and it was the wedding was fun, but I don't see the point in it really. Do you think of yourself as someone who would get married in the future?
I think I would. Yeah, I think that's a possibility. Like some of those things in the future, I'm not 100% sure. I think I would like to get married. I think I would like to have a family, but I don't want to put myself in the thought where I have to have those things and I will do them with the wrong person, like just so that I have them. I mean, I really love my boyfriend, so I don't think that would be an issue, but I didn't want to say I need to be married and I need to have a family or all those things by this period of time. So when I start getting desperate, if I'm still single, I'm just settling because I want those things.
No, I think there's one thing we've both established is, whatever relationship we're in, we are doing it, as the Bachelor and Bachelorette would say, for all the right reasons.
Hopefully.
We're in it. We're in it because we love the person that we're with. We're in it because we want to see a future with them. We can see ourselves spending our lives with them to some degree, at the very least, depending on how long we've been with them. Right. But we, as we spend more and more time with the people that we're with, and it's in a good place, and we're able to solve problems and things like that, I feel that we're the type of people who would be like, yeah, okay, this is a thing that can be a real long-term relationship, one that you could see lasting indefinitely, right? Like that's your goal, essentially. You're not thinking, well, no, it has to have the marriage, it has to have the baby, it has to have this, it has to have that. It's more of, okay, we're going to go at it as it comes, right? At least I'll speak for me. I'm not going to speak for you, but that's for me. It's like, that's for me how I think it would go is like, oh, I'm in it. I'm having fun. We love each other. We care about each other. Great. If things naturally lead in those other directions, marriage, children, whatever, even more awesome, right? Mm-hmm. Is that kind of the same thing for you? I hope I wasn't speaking out of turn when I was kind of lumping you into my own little thing there.
No, that's okay. I think it's a little more complicated because my boyfriend really, really wants kids, and I really want to make sure everything's like I feel really great about it before I have kids.
Of course, yeah.
So he'll be able to have kids. He'll go a non-traditional route if he doesn't. If something happened to us and we broke up, then he would just go a non-traditional route and have kids because he really, really wants them. Mm-hmm. I love the thought of us having a family together, but I'm kind of like your friends where I do have a lot of worries about kids too.
Yeah.
So, and I just want to make sure that we're really solid, before we make big commitment choices like marriage and kids. So, I mean, for me, it's I could definitely picture a wonderful life like that with the kids and everything, but I'm kind of an anxious person, and I want to make sure that things are not just going to we're going to rush into things and not think about it.
Well, no, I hope I didn't. I hope I wasn't implying that I was rushing into anything.
Oh, no, not at all. No, I'm just saying that I know that he really wants kids pretty soon, and I don't want to just be well, let's not even think about it and do it. I want to be well, let's just see how we're doing. And if we're not right for each other, you're still going to have kids. Mm-hmm. You're going to be a great dad. Mm-hmm. But if it feels we're rushing it, I would feel I've just seen a lot of people have problems when they maybe got married or had kids before they thought about it.
Well, I mean, look, Mick Jagger had kids at 70, so whatever.
Yeah, but also how many millions of dollars does he have to just send the kids off to a boarding school in France for their entire lives?
Oh, that's sad.
Hopefully not. They can be around his mansion with the many nannies. It's okay.
Yeah. No, yeah. Then that question then becomes for you, how many years would be appropriate before having children? How many years into a relationship before it would be comfortable for you to have a kid?
Well, I'm not super young anymore, so...
Yeah, you are! Oh my God. She's 75, folks. I hope that's what she's
okay. I'm not in my early 20s.
Well, But even then, more and more women are having children later in life anyway. Very few women, I think, are having children in their 20s.
We might not go the traditional route anyways. Yeah. So the biological thing might not be the biggest factor, but right. I keep, I'm pretty keep an open mind to that. And there could be, there's health stuff, but there's all this stuff. You can go other routes where it doesn't have to be that, and it doesn't have to be biological clock. But right. I do think it would probably be within the next few years, just because.
Yeah, that makes sense.
We have talked about marriage, and we wouldn't do it anytime super soon. But, he's a bit older than me too, and he wants to have kids at some point.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think that's the funniest thing is I don't know the age range of I feel like this is geared maybe towards older individuals, this podcast. I don't know. Like, so far the people who are listening are around our age. I don't know if any 20-year-olds or 18-year-olds or whatever are listening to us. If you are, great. We'd love to hear from you. But I think a lot of the people who are listening are around our age. So I'm curious if they also have that same clock ticking. Because I feel like, especially now with modern medicine, I feel like that clock isn't as vital. And as you said, you're willing to go other routes like robot babies, but which you didn't hear, which is why, and I'm glad I snuck it in. So I hope everyone heard that because I know Sarah didn't hear me say that. So she's going to have a robot baby.
That's the plan.
Yeah. From, oh my God, wasn't it that one place that makes the robot, the robots that dance and stuff, and they can climb and they do flips and stuff. Oh man, what are they called?
Creepy. Yeah. I don't want a robot baby.
We're getting close. So anyway, but yeah, I think that's, if there's someone out there who's young who has an idea of maybe what youthful people would do in this situation, like what are you as like a 20-something-year-old, what are your timetables for this kind of stuff? Is it 3 years like we were saying? Is it more? Is it less? Are you waiting till you're 30 anyway to even get into a serious relationship? Is this still, because again, there's a hookup culture, quote unquote hookup culture right now going on amongst young people, so maybe there isn't serious relationships going on at the moment. I'm curious what people think about that. But if you're our age, similarly, like, how long did you wait? I'd love to hear from you guys, any of that. But do you think we answered that question? Do you think we answered Jen's question of how long it takes, or how long is too long for one to get married?
I think so. I mean, I think we decided if one person really, really wants to get married and has wanted that the whole time, 10 years is definitely too long.
That's too long, yeah. So less than 10 years, more than 90 days. Gotcha. Okay. So we got it covered. All right. If you want to, again, send those questions, any comments, things like that, is this lovepod@gmail.com. It's like the Whitesnake song. People have been mentioning, it reminds me of that Whitesnake song. Yes, that's kind of where it came from, the Whitesnake song.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We little behind the scenes here, a little backstage stuff. But when we were thinking of the name of the show, I think we looked at names of movies, names of music, song titles.
That's right. Oh my God, I totally just blanked. Yes, you're right.
Yeah. So this was a song title that
it was.
It was this, or like oh my God, what was the other one? I dreamed it. I forget. It was like some weird. It was a really interesting weird name.
Oh my gosh! I wonder if I have it.
I really hope you have the list, because we even wrote notes and everything.
I did. I took some notes here. Oh, brainstorm session.
Yeah, here we go.
Okay, so Quest for Passion.
That's the one. Quest for Passion. That was the one that we were like. But then we thought, oh no, maybe that's, and people wouldn't necessarily get the idea. But I thought Quest for Passion was just a fun name, and we could have had it would have been a really different show. We would have had prizes. No, you could win treasure.
I liked Baby Don't Hurt Me.
That's a really inside joke. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we had some good ones. We had some good Love Shack.
Love Shack, yeah. Oh, yeah, Love Shack. Oh, my goodness. I would have loved Love Shack. Welcome to the Love Shack. I would have to talk like...
I think that one was taken.
Love Shack, baby. I'd have to talk like that guy. Anyway, let's wrap up here with... I'm going to... Yeah, well, let's answer a couple of Right Cow Left Coast. Like, Right Cow Left Coast is an avid listener. Thank you so much for listening to every episode and sending us questions every week. We're going to answer a couple of them right now before we get to at least one article tonight. So what question, or is there anything in particular that you wanted to answer from Right Cow's vast number of questions? Because he has a lot.
He does. I really liked one of these. It's several questions in a little paragraph here.
Yeah.
Who seeks who? Does the one who feels the other is of a higher dating quality, or is the more desperate, hungry, lonely, needy individual? That reminds me of the stink of desperation and non-confidence. What advice do you give for individuals to remove that from themselves? Is there a stink of overconfidence, bravado, cockiness? Which is worse? Why?
Okay. Who seeks who? You sought out, technically you both were seeking out each other, you and your boyfriend now.
Right, because we did the dating apps for sure. Everyone on there is looking for that, or they're looking for something.
Now, were you desperate, hungry, lonely, needy?
I don't feel like I was.
Okay.
I don't really feel like he was either, but I do think the neediness and the desperation, I would say, okay, so once you're in a relationship, once you start dating, if you've got that, if you're really desperate to hold on to them, or you're very needy for them, or that comes after the initial attraction was established, I think it can create a really big attraction imbalance, and maybe even a power imbalance where the person who's less needy can have a little bit more sway in the relationship. Mm-hmm. I think that they can be a little bit more aloof and be chaste, and the other person has to do more of the work. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I would say that's not a great position to be in.
Have you ever been needy?
And I don't think that the answer is bravado and cockiness. Mm-hmm. I think that's just covering up insecurity. I don't think that's actual self-love, or I don't know. It just it doesn't feel like really genuine self-love when you have to put on a show.
Mm-hmm. Well, have you ever been needy yourself?
Yeah, I'm sure I have. Yeah, when I was younger, it was probably when I was younger in my early relationships. I was spend more time with me, talk to me all night on the phone.
Oh yeah, well yeah. I like that. Most of my relationships that started with hours upon hours of talking to somebody. That happened with several of them, where it would be talking from 9 o'clock in the evening till the sun came up, and that's usually a good sign that we're both attracted to each other and or at the very least interested in some degree. And that was a lot of fun. But I think, needy. Nothing can help being needy. If you're needy, you're needy. But you should. My recommendation is to at least fake it and disguise it as something else and not appear needy, because at some point you're going to be hopefully comfortable if you do find yourself in a relationship, as you kind of focus that energy, that needy energy, into something else. For instance, myself and a friend of mine, way back when we were in our early 20s, we went to Las Vegas, and we were both. Well, I was single at the time. He was, I don't know what he was. He was in between. I don't know. He was off and on with his girlfriend. It was strange. Anyway, so we're sitting at a bar, and we're just having a drink, and he was needy. I was not. I didn't particularly care for having to associate with the, I don't know what to call them, the more citrusy ladies of the night there in Las Vegas. I felt like it wasn't my jam, but he was particularly needy. Maybe it was him just being horny. Who knows? All I know is that he was eyeing a particular woman across the way while we were having drinks they were sitting in front of a dance floor, and they were just sipping their drinks. Her and a girl and her friend were sipping drinks, and he was just like, oh, I so want to talk to her. I wish I could. Oh, I want to anything. I don't care. He's like, what? You know what? I'm just going to go downstairs. I'm going to go and play some blackjack, and get my mind off things. And he just left me alone, sitting there, eyeing these two women. And I said to myself, I don't know if I should do this, but I want to do a solid for my best buddy in the world. I'm going to do him a solid. And this is going way out of my comfort zone. I'm pretty much shaking at the idea of doing this, but I'm going to do this anyway. And mind you, I'm not a drinker, so I didn't have liquid courage or anything. I just was sipping on a really weird drink. I don't remember what it was. And I walk up to these women and I say, hello, ladies. Actually, I didn't say that. I said, hello, ladies. And I sat down behind them, and I just said, do you mind if I sit here? And they're like, yeah, no, go ahead. And they just continue to ignore me because I'm this dumpy, weird-looking dude, just asking if I could sit near them. And I'm like, okay. And my friend, 10 minutes later, comes up and looks at me. He's like, what are you doing? Just like mouthing it to me. I'm just like, the girl. And he's like, yeah, I know. And he walks over and he's like, he's the one that goes, hello, ladies. And they both go, oh, hi. And the night proceeds to be, he flirts and gets his neediness satisfied by pretty much draping himself over this girl and making out with her, while her friend and I have a miserable time together because neither of us are interested in each other, and we're just kind of there watching our two friends practically have sex in the middle of a casino.
How nice.
But, sometimes, though, neediness doesn't always necessarily lead to something negative in this particular, well, except for me, apparently in this case. But for my friend, though, it worked really well in the sense that he got something that he really wanted, something he was desperate, he was needy, he was lonely, and it turned out to have a positive effect in which he was able to go and spend literally from, I'd say, about 10 o'clock at night till about 8 o'clock in the morning. We just spent time with these two women, which was awful for me, and her friend. Because again, we had nothing in common. We had nothing to talk about. We weren't making out or anything. And these two were just like all over each other. It was awful. But it's a very, so it's a little bit of something in between. It's needy that was kind of transformed into being, I guess, suave. The neediness was overlayered with something else, and he was able to get something that he wanted. So I think as long as you don't show a intense neediness and desperation, which is a huge turnoff, I would think, right, for most ladies, right, Sarah? I don't know.
Generally, yes.
Generally, yes. Yeah. So maybe if you can have an appropriate wingman or wingwoman, you can accomplish and have your neediness met to some degree, without looking desperate and not having to be overly cocky or have so much bravado, right? You can. There is a way to walk that fine line. So, any other questions there before we wrap things or get to our one article?
Let's see here. I thought this was interesting.
Sure.
Does age impact dateability, for better or for worse? As one gets older, as the dating pool shrinks, does one lower expectations? Should someone lower their expectations?
Well, this sucks because this doesn't necessarily apply to the sexes equally. Because as a man gets older, he's often looked upon as being more sophisticated sometimes, being more attractive sometimes even, because they have that air of wisdom or that air of experience. While as a woman gets older, there isn't that same kind of respect, I don't think. As a woman gets older, unless you're like Helen Mirren or something, oftentimes your attractiveness, a woman's attractiveness, has a tendency to go downward in the mind of most men, unfortunately, right? Now, please correct me if I'm wrong on that one, Sarah. I mean, I think that men are fairly superficial in that regard.
Yeah, there's a lot of beauty standards women are held to, and they are usually that you need to be young and thin and pretty. Mm-hmm. So, and you can't stay young forever. Mm-mm. So you can't keep up with the beauty standards, that people say you should try to fall into. It's impossible. But I would say that there are so many people that fall in love at older ages, mm-hmm. And they're heterosexual couples. So it's a man and a woman who are both older. Mm-hmm. And it happens even though society tells us, only the young women are able to find mates, and the older men are just like swimming in options now because their time has finally come, which I guess is true if you're, going after 20s club girls and that's your scene, then yeah, maybe that whole formula works for that lifestyle. Mm-hmm. But there's tons and tons of people who are dating and finding love at every age. And if you just kind of look outside of what society is telling you is happening and what's supposed to be happening on the dating scene, there's a lot of optimism for everybody. So I try not to worry too much about that. I mean, and not just because, it's bad for me. I got born with, the wrong equipment. So it sucks to be me. As time goes on, I get worse. It would certainly be easy to feel that way. And that's exactly what society is telling me. But there's lots of evidence to make me feel like that's just one perspective. And, it's a very strong message we're getting. And there's lots of people who fall into that, but not everybody.
Well, look, if Bling Dynasty has taught me anything, it's that as the women in that show had gotten older, the more and more plastic surgery they decide to, but they're all millionaires and stuff, so they can easily do it, I guess. But it's a really interesting kind of, because they look weird. I don't know if they ever look in the mirror because they look weird.
Well, I mean, it's great if you have a really great plastic surgeon, or I'm not really sure what the successful surgeries with the
Botox or whatever?
Botox that's like the injections, right? Mm-hmm. But people who are able to sort of look like they're aging gracefully, but really they're just managing it. Mm-hmm. And they don't have the big cheeks or the big lips or everything. I don't know if they just have really, really great surgeons, or if they take really realistic measures. They're I don't want my lips to be bigger than they ever were. Mm-hmm. I just want them to kind of stay the same. I don't know what the magic formula is for having decent plastic surgery versus the stuff that they showcase on reality TV.
I don't know either. But that's kind of, I guess, why I brought it up. It's I mean, age, unfortunately, people think too much about it. And I actually think you don't have to. I think Sarah's very much right that as you get older, and it goes both ways too. When women find younger men, there's a whole kind of cougar lifestyle now, right? That's a thing now. That didn't used to be a thing, but now it's incredibly accepted as an acceptable dating pattern to date younger men for whatever reason. Just like men have their trophy wives, women can have their trophy husbands. It's becoming more and more commonplace now. So I feel, and we're all aging much better nowadays than we did even 50 years ago. There was a Twitter thread of people. It was the Cheers cast, the cast of Cheers, and it gave all of their ages over their heads, and they're people were just no way were they in their 30s. All of these characters, Frasier, right, was 29 on the show, I guess, and he was balding.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's how was he 29? That dude looks like no way, in his 40s easily. But, these people, smoking was a big thing back then. Alcohol, drinking was bigger back then. We are now so much healthier as a society. I think we're going to look really good as we get older. I really do. I think we're going to look amazing.
Hey, that's great.
Yeah. And I see more and more people. If you look at social media, there's women now and men now who are in their 60s, celebrities and otherwise. You couldn't tell. I mean, look at Paul Rudd, right?
Oh my gosh, I know. Oh, he's adorable.
Paul Rudd looks like he just stepped off of the Clueless set and is like, hanging out now. I mean, obviously, maybe that's a bit of an exaggeration, but you know what I mean. So,
yeah, no, it's true.
Yeah.
I think I have a doctor that I was talking to recently, and she mentioned that she was almost 50. I thought she was my age, mid-30s.
Wow.
I know. I was just like, that's amazing.
Oh, doctor salary.
Doctor salary. Actually, I think she's like a registered nurse or something. But still good. Yeah. Good salary.
Yeah. All right. Now, look, you guys have been very kind with hanging out with us. Let's end on a high note here with maybe is there a fun little story? I think we need to keep some of these stories for next time. We should do an all article episode. I think next episode we'll just do all articles. Some of these articles are really funny. Some of them are really fun. Some of them are really like, oh boy. But like I put an article here that says, I study animals. Here are 4 dating tips I've learned from them. And they're really basic stuff, but I really found it funny that it's like, oh, you got it from animals. And it's a Newsweek article too. It's like, oh, you're a reputable newspaper. Why are you talking about like, I
love
animals?
It though.
Yeah.
I do. I love animals, and I love like looking at how we are similar to them. Mm-hmm. So a lot of dating articles can be very, very similar. So I applaud this one for going in this different direction.
Yeah. Oh, no, I agree. But I do find it funny. It's just like, wow, like this is where we're going to go. Okay. But is there anything in that, or maybe it's that one. Maybe that's the one you want to talk about as we make our way out of here.
I did really like that one. Gosh, I'm trying to remember what was the stuff in it. Well, it was like, just go for it. Go through rejection after rejection after rejection. That's what animals do. You don't see them like sitting in like at the bar, like crying into their beer because they got rejected again. They just keep going. They don't really have a lot of options, and they don't have like the intelligence, I guess, to wallow and to think about it. They're just like, I need a mate. Let's go try the next one.
They don't have the complex thought processes of thinking about our mistakes and like dwelling on the things that we do, right? Animals, what they do is they do it once, it fails. They're like, okay, obviously not this one. We'll mate over here and see if this one works. And they just keep trying. And I think that's a really good mentality. But yes, it says here, keep putting yourself out there, despite rejection being hard, which I know we talked about briefly in the couple episodes ago, or last episode, but I mean, rejection, it's a tough one. I've been through a lot of rejection, and you know what? Just, keep it going. And it also says, hey, take it slow. Don't rush into things. I know y'all are horny. Y'all want to paw each other and to pet each other's nether bits, but what? Apparently Sarah does not pet nether bits.
I've never said that before.
Oh, okay, good.
That's not a phrase I've ever heard in my life.
Well, now when you're getting intimate with your boyfriend, it's like, I'd love to pet your nether bits.
Oh, I definitely won't. Definitely won't be bringing that into the bedroom. I feel like I would just start laughing so hard. I probably would too.
I've been practicing the mouth organ. Anyway. I think we just inadvertently take this article, so I'm going to keep going. But yeah, take it slow. Don't rush into things. It's easy to. Infatuation is a powerful drug. Powerful drug. Mm-hmm. I mean, when you're just into someone and you're like on top of the world, you think there's nothing that can go wrong, and then things go wrong. So take it slow. Attraction is wonderful. It's beautiful, but don't rush into things like getting married 2 weeks after. Wait, the 90 days?
90 days is fine as long as it's after 90 days. 90 days. 91 days. You're good.
91 days. That's what it is. Is this love approved? All right. It says here, learn to detect problems quickly, which I actually think is harder than it sounds. But it's really something that I often lament, which is a lot of self-reflection. Think about the things that you're doing. Sometimes, go through your things that your brain says to yourself. If you're worrying about something, ask yourself why you're worrying about it. Try to rationalize it. Is there evidence as to why you feel that way, or is it just you being paranoid or anxious or something? Like, really kind of think it through. Reflect. People don't reflect enough, I don't think. People don't like to reflect because it looks ugly. And it's scary. You're a person I know who reflects a lot, I think.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm an overthinker. What? It's really...
Why do you overthink? But yeah.
Too much reflection. Yeah. It's like I'm just living in a room of mirrors. But yeah, I think that that's the nice thing about animals. They see a problem and they're like, nope. But with us, we're like, but what if this is the one? But what if this isn't a big problem? What if I just think it's a red flag because everyone's telling me it is, but, they don't know this particular situation, or I have this feeling. Is this anxiety or is it intuition? Is it my gut? Like everyone says, trust your gut. Or am I just, running away with my fears? Yeah, you can definitely overthink all of it. And I think a lot of people just stay through some red flags for a while. I think it's very, very common.
Look. The things we'll do for tail. I'm telling you that now. Like if the tail is great and the coitus is good, I mean, you just kind of.
Oh my God! Is this bonus content already?
Hey, I can say that. That's unbelievable. I don't have to put a funny soundbite for that. I can say that out loud.
We're not in bonus content yet. You're gonna have to bleep anything you say accidentally.
I don't know about that one. That one's that's broadcastable. That's okay.
Okay, all right. Well, you know the rules.
Yeah, because that one nobody. First off, I'm pretty sure I'm not you guys who are listening. You guys are smart, but there's other people out there who have no idea what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? Fellatio. Anyway. It's a Latin term. I guess
that's a really fancy way to say it.
I know, right?
Fellatio.
You heard it here first. Sarah's a cunning linguist. All right, moving on to the last bit here.
Oh my God!
Don't be a long-tailed dance fly. Is their fourth and final recommendation. In other words, don't try to lie to please your mate. In this, their example is that the fly, oftentimes to get a mate, they pretend that they're larger. It's usually the size of the mate that they're interested in. Sometimes they'll inhale air to pretend that they're larger, and it essentially is just all a one big fat lie. Don't lie. I know it's easy to say that because catfishing is a thing and it's easier. It's like, dating is like a resume. You want to lie about certain things to make yourself look more interesting or more palatable, right? Like I often put in my dating profile that I met the Blue Man Group, which is true, but nobody cares. That's not impressive. I don't know why I do that.
I was like interested there for a second.
I mean, I did meet them.
You met them?
I did. I mean, I did meet them, but it's like, who cares? But I guess you do, so that's good. So, okay, there you go.
That's cool.
Yeah. Blue Man Group, very entertaining. Yeah, I've done a lot of things where it's like, I think it'd look good in a dating profile, right? Like, oh, I've talked to these celebrities, like, yay. LeVar Burton made fun of me for like a whole hour. That was fun. It's stuff like that, but and maybe you can try not to embellish, try not to lie, try to be honest, again, because if you intend to be with them for a long period of time, they'll figure it out eventually,
Mm-hmm.
They'll know that, you were wearing vertical stripes to make yourself look taller, but really.
And they couldn't tell. They were standing right next to you, and they thought you were shorter.
They thought you were standing beside a really tall guy, and they're like,
"Oh, I see."
He's super
in your
tall.
Picture.
Yeah, it's like, oh my god, he's so tall.
Also, like the people who you think of the typical thing, maybe even from before dating apps, people go on the date and be like, "Oh yeah, I'm a brain surgeon. I drive a Lamborghini." And they say all this stuff, and they're like, I'll never see him again after tonight. Well, what if you like them?
Yeah.
Now what are you going to do? That's a tough situation.
Then you're going to have to cut into someone's head and drive a Lamborghini.
You have to steal a car and break into a surgery, what is it called? An operation theater.
Yeah, and yeah. Oh, my goodness.
Perform surgery.
Have fun with that. Doogie, okay. So, all right, last question before we get out of here. Have you ever caught anyone in a lie from your dating online? Have you ever caught anyone actually lying about something?
God, I'm so bad at that.
Lying or figure out people lying?
Catching people and like holding them to it. Like so I like dated someone. Actually, we had like a relationship, which is just nonstop bad decisions on my part, and like looking red flag after red flag after red flag and being like, I don't care. I like these like other parts of the relationship, like their family and things like that. So I'm going to ignore all this. But right off the bat, they had lied about things on their profile. It was like, you said you're a non-smoker. And they were like, which, it's not that I haven't dated smokers before, but they said they were a non-smoker. Mm-hmm. And they were like, "Oh, actually, I just put that because they don't let you say, or I wasn't smoking like that day or something."
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I said, "Well, you said you had no kids, and you do have a kid," and he was like, "Well, I just don't want people to like be weird about like I'm protective of my kid or something," and it wasn't like those were the biggest deals ever, and in fact, I really, really liked his kid, but it was definitely the giant red flag, the start of the lies. Mm-hmm, and that should have just been super obvious. But I was like, well, I guess I can understand why you lied about those things. And this was younger, stupider me. So let's go easy on her. I definitely could have caught him in some lies and instead like let it slide.
What was that rule number 3? Ignoring the red flags here in this article.
I definitely broke rule number 3 consistently.
Yeah, they told me they were proficient in Microsoft Office, and they lied. I was really sad. It's like
on their dating application.
Yeah. Well, when you use LinkedIn as a dating app, it doesn't.
Oh my god.
What is this? Proficient in Word and Excel. That's questionable. I'm going to have to test them.
I thought you were going to be able to help me with my spreadsheets. Was everything a lie?
I need to know how to do this formula. You lied to me. God. All right.
That must have just broken your heart.
I think we had way too much fun in this episode. I think we're getting comfortable doing podcasting now.
Yeah.
Together. Oh boy. All right. Well, look, you get a little extra content here. Thanks everyone for listening. You guys are awesome. You are wonderful, lovely people. And for that, we salute you in all sorts of cool and interesting ways. I don't know what that means. So go ahead and send us an email at isthislovepod@gmail.com. So go to @isthislove on Instagram, @isthislovepod, excuse me. I can't remember the pod is important. The love pod is important.
The pod is the most important part.
At least it wasn't the love pad. That might have been a whole different story.
Oh. Yeah, don't send them to Love Pad.
No, don't go to the Love Pad.
Send them to Love Pod.
Is this Love Pod? You can find us on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter. We post articles there. We'll definitely respond to you if you write to us. And yeah, send us your questions. We'd love to answer them. Again, this show is about you. Now, I think if we don't get a lot of questions in, that means a lot of people are having really good relationships, which means awesome. Happy for you. But if you happen to know someone who is having some trouble, struggling, let us know. And finally, sinceresarcasm.net is the website if you want to go ahead and check it out there. Thanks so much for listening, everyone. You guys are awesome. And please know you are great. All right. I'll see you all next time. Bye, everyone. I'm waving at the camera as if they could see me, but that's obviously not the case.